Hey guys, Thomas the Genie here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. If you end up enjoying this full review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to Partition to help smaller YouTubers. Second and third will head you over to my Patreon and PayPal, which will help support me. And fourth, to my Discord server, which you're going to find other smaller YouTubers and communicate and also help find each other and do all that good stuff. And shilling will be reminded at the end of the review. So with that out of the way, let's get into Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. Now, this is a movie I abruptly just came across, and quite frankly, don't have official notes for, but I'm going to review it nonetheless, so I'll be a bit more sporadic, I suppose, in this one. Nonetheless, didn't see any trailers for this movie, despite how star-studded it is, including the likes of George Takei, Michelle Yeoh, and Samuel L. Jackson, Ricky Gervais, Michael Cera, big voice actors or celebrities, all in this movie, this little animated flick. So, the plot and summary and characters, let's get into that and objectively review it. So we follow some narration with some custom-made music, so that's a nice change of pace despite what happens a little bit later on in the movie, as we eventually come into contact with young Hank here, our little dog in the yellow jumpsuit, which could be attributed to probably a bunch of, well, Kill Bill, most likely. But nonetheless, it follows him getting assigned to this cat-based village where this evil cat guy, the one on the right, the one with the tall ears and the big eyebrows there, Pikachu, which they literally call him Pikachu in the movie, so they make a Pokemon reference in the movie, which is odd, but okay. Nonetheless, Pikachu, our evil character, is trying to wipe out this town so that his empire can look. The view from it doesn't have anything in its way, including the town. The previous samurai, this takes place in a land of samurai cats and dogs, I guess, gets ran out by the attackers, but in the process the town is temporarily saved by, I don't remember exactly how it's saved, but point is, after their attack, they immediately call for a new samurai. And lo and behold, Pikachu is in hold of Hank in a prison cell. He seems to be down on his luck. He's imprisoned, and they're about to kill him outside, and our villain says we need a bad samurai, since, you know, the Emperor's like, we don't want the Emperor to be suspicious of it being me that has put this whole ploy together to do this thing. So, with that being said, he hires on Hank to be his stand-in, point terrible samurai. So, he agrees, Hank agrees, he goes to the town doesn't like him, they're all cats, he's a dog. There are a lot of cats, there are a lot of cat puns and a lot of dog puns here in this movie, as well as some adult humor, mentioning balls, among things, and then it just being two yarn balls. A lot of other puns, meta humor as well in this movie, including mentioning when a montage is just about to occur and wanting to skip the montage, and then the other character literally says, we can't skip the montage, it's my favorite part. And even saying later on in the movie how it's the end of the movie, literally dialogue saying that it's the end of the movie, and we have X amount of time to finish said movie. That's, again, literal dialogue in the movie. I'm using the word literally in this case. So there you go. Anywho, so Hank gets trained, as I was mentioning, by another samurai, the fatter left-hand cat on the poster there, played by Samuel L. Jackson. He's a samurai of the past who's felt he has failed his previous, who he served to protect. So he ended up here, sort of a washed-up samurai, but still has some moves to give and to expose. And he keeps layering it down that not only is he a dog, but he's not a good samurai at all. We go through the montage, and he's gotten a little bit better throughout the montage. And after the fact, another attack occurs, which they send in the big cat in the back there on the poster. They have Samuel L. Jackson cat save Hank here, and this is a part that I feel like is a little bit rushed here, where they have Hank sort of take extra credit for defeating the enemy, and they don't really resolve this per se. They don't have, the samurai character confess that it was actually him to humble our main character. He's sort of in this bragging stage of near the end of the third act, or the beginning of the third act of the movie, so the pacing of his character arc is severely rushed here, as he goes on to celebrate after defeating, according to him, the big cat there in the back again. Just to mention the other two on the poster there, we have the little kitten there on the right hand side. She's like samurai in training, or she wants to protect her town to the best of her abilities, and she ends up being pretty good at the end of the movie. Just gets silenced for, I guess, being small or whatever. And the mom character, I guess Hank has a crush on her, question mark? They seem to almost imply that at one point in the movie. Or, just him still being in that cocky attitude while talking to the cat mom at that part of the movie. I'm not sure which it is. I was leaning a little bit closer to flirting based off of the eyes. Visuals help a lot in these sort of circumstances, since, acting can do, so much here, considering. And the wording, too, can also hint, which I think it did. I could be mistaken. Anyway, as you can see, I kind of fell back because I didn't take proper notes here. So, as I was saying, or was implying, is that Hank is feeling ambitious, he's feeling rewarded, he's feeling like a true hero. So, the evil cat, Ikaju, sets up this party, and this is where the movie feels like it was, meant to, come out years ago, as they literally play Gangnam Style, which is a song that came out a while ago, in the early 2000s, I think. So that definitely dates the movie a few years back, and it definitely almost looks like it could have come out a few years ago on top of that, too. So yeah, I don't think that music choice was the most effective music choice. And they keep cutting back and forth to the party which they're playing, which is where the beginning of Gangnam Style begins, and they're cut back into the bad guy after he has summoned all of these other bad guys, henchmen, and all the other names henchmen have, to essentially attack the village. And their attack is successful because Hank is out there partying to Gangnam Style, but Gangnam Style is also continuously playing during the attack. Again, probably not the best song to pick for a party song in 2022. I don't know, there are probably newer party songs that could elevate this scene just as easily. Probably. I haven't been keeping track of them, so I can only assume. And it really juxtaposes the combat, the attack. And I feel like that could have been a little bit of a fun scene if it had been spliced between the party music, even if it had been stuck to Gundam style or whatever, and then when they cut back, it's more like a severe loss music, and they actually compile it really well. I would have been actually really impressed with that, but no, that's not what we get at all. Anyways, so the attack is successful, so Samurai Cat Samuel Jackson is disappointed in Hank, says he's a nothing and a nobody. This is the low point third act of the movie where he almost leaves, and then he pulls out an origami little thing of himself that the girl made after his first victory. And that what causes him to go back, among other things. And we see that the Samurai Samuel Pizza Cat stays behind and attacks the bad guys, but he ends up coming back at the end of the movie just in the nick of time to help the town with this new problem of eventually after the attack because the attack ends up back in they end up attacking the bad guy place, the Empire building-esque type of building. But during their assault on it, and trying to save Sumo, who was the big cat in the back, by the way, they, I guess, flush the area, both in a literal sense. Again, I can't believe I have to say literal this many times in a review, but yes, it literally happens that they flush out the building with a literal toilet, and thus the water is flowing towards the city, so they have to dig out a trench around the city. They're doing so effectively, but the little kittens get caught in the water, so Hank, being in the lead and the furthest of them, is swimming towards them, saving them, and everyone's helping out behind, holding on. So the kittens are saved, and we see the samurai who left at the very, very, very beginning of the movie come back, so just so that everyone's here, I guess, and it also just, I guess, rounds out the conveniences for this movie as well. And again, I feel like this is also in addition to Hank's character being a bit rushed. This is, again, not too long after he's been humbled. The whole saving and heading back and finding the origami toy or little figurine all happens in the span of a few minutes of each other. So I feel like the actual meaningful part of Hank learning something is a little bit the most rushed out of everything in this movie, which is a shame. I think they had a lot of fun here at the expense of that, though. As I kept mentioning, they crank out the puns left and right here. Obviously, quite a bit of meta humor, as I already mentioned. And once Hank has, as well as the town, saved themselves in this instance, fending off the rest of the area, the Shogun comes, and he was the friend that the samurai Samuel L. Jackson Pizza Cat had felt like he had let down earlier, so that ends up rounding itself out. Hank names the little girl the new samurai, so she gets to get picked up, and she says she wants to be the new shogun, and the shogun is like, yeah, that seems cool. As they head out in the distance, and earlier they said that it was like near the end of the movie, and sure enough, as Hank and Samurai Samuel Peachel Samurai Samuel L. Jackson Pizza Cat train the further into the samurai styles as the movie rolls into the credits. And that was Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. Again, a little bit of a shorter review, but yeah, I thought this movie was fun. Obviously, it wasn't something that was obviously serious here. They again predicated more, leaning in heavier into pointing out the puns, making sure they stuck out. Like whenever they made a pun, it would like show off what the pun was referring to, or again, the meta jokes. So yeah, it's definitely more silly than serious. Even the combat at the end is very short-handed, which, Paws of Fury, I feel like that could lend itself to something a little bit more, slightly more action-oriented. It only feels like the action takes place near the end of the movie. Feels like a missed opportunity. I don't know, I think it could have been a slightly better mix of, like, piecing everything out. Making sure, Hank has an opportunity to, like, have a slow moment near, his low point. Have that draw out a little bit longer so he can come to the realization that he's, like, being a little bit too victorious there, and maybe his mentor was a little bit more right than he let on. Because he keeps downplaying his mentor throughout the movie, and I feel like, yeah, it feels like that doesn't resolve. That's like one big part that doesn't resolve itself at the end of the movie. They just sort of go back to training. So I'd probably give this a 6 out of 10, as I feel like, again, it's a fine movie, but there are definitely flaws that are pretty obvious to point out. That's usually where I land my 6s out of 10s, is like, it's a solid movie. It probably could have been a 7, but there are just too many mistakes, and they were just too obvious and, worth pointing out. And yeah, that's my review of Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. And if you ended up enjoying this full review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition, second and third will head you over to my Patreon and PayPal, which will help support me, and the fourth will head you over to my Discord server, where you can find other YouTubers communicating and all that good stuff. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.